Hello, folks, and welcome to Yoga for Hips and Knees. Not only are these two of the most complained about joints in the body, but they are also connected to each other in more ways than one. Knee pain and knee injuries are many times as a result of hip tightness. Luckily for you, here is a class ready to save the day. Let's begin in a comfortable seated position. That might mean a cross-legged seat or sitting on the heels. That's completely up to you. Rest your palms on your thighs, sit up tall, and then close your eyes when you're ready. Just take these first few moments here to notice how your body feels today. Notice if you're feeling strained at all in your hips or your low back or your knees. Just take this time to check in. In time, you'll start to bring your awareness to your breath. Noticing how deeply you are breathing here, and noticing where your breath is arriving in your body. Begin to deepen your breath so that with every inhale, you fill all the way up, all the way down into your belly. And every exhale, you begin to draw your navel up and into your spine, activating real subtly these muscles in your core. Inhale to fill up and expand. Exhale to draw your navel up and into your spine. Good. Continue breathing that way and begin to open your eyes and uncross your legs, placing your feet in front of you, wider than hips width distance apart. We're going to start warming up the hips by windshield wiping the legs. So you'll drop your knees side to side. We'll move through this here quite a few times to begin warming up the hips, getting them ready for some deeper opening. Start slow and try to keep your feet in that same spot on the ground. So the only thing that's moving are the knees from side to side, and that way you can really rotate the femur bones through the hip joints. Good. Keep going. See if you can even bring your knees to the ground each time. That might seem impossible at the start, but in time, you'll get better at this. Especially at the end of this class, you might already find some improvement. All right, the next time your knees are on the right side, stay there and come to 90-90 position. That means bringing a 90-degree angle in both legs. We're going to focus on internal rotation in the left leg first. We'll do 5 repetitions of a foot lift in the left foot. Now, if it doesn't lift so much, don't be too discouraged. You're still activating the right muscles. Let's begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. This last one, hold it for 5, 4. Keep going. You might get a little crampy here. 2. And 1, release. Awesome job. Place both hands behind you and turn your chest to face your left thigh. Look at your left knee and pause here, taking some rest, letting the left femur bone just hang out in this passive internal rotation. Now, the more towards the left you twist your torso, the deeper it'll be. And then we'll switch sides. Flip your knees over to the left. 90-90 position. And let's begin with lifting the right foot for 5, 4, 3. Keep going. Remember, if your foot doesn't lift too much, that's okay. You're still activating the right muscles. Last one, let's hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Tap it down. Really nice. Keep your legs as they are. Place both hands behind you and twist your torso to face your right knee this time. Let your body just take some rest here. Working on stretching out that right hip. Nice. All right, now flipping it back over to the right side. We're going to start focusing on the right leg and external rotation. Twist your torso to face your right thigh. Place your hands down and pulse your torso over your right thigh for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. This last time, hold it here. And if possible, start to walk your hands forward folding deeper, almost like you're trying to glue your belly to your thigh. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Maybe sink a little deeper into this stretch. Nice. One more breath like that. Slowly start to lift yourself back up, and let's flip it around to the left side. Turn your torso to face your left knee. Place your hands down. And let's pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stay here. Fold as deeply as you can. Keep a long spine. Lead with the center of your chest. If possible, you can start to walk your hands forward, but on this side, for me, it feels a little bit better to keep my hands to the sides, like how we were when we were pulsing. Notice the way you're breathing. Every time you exhale, see if you can get slightly deeper into the pose. About 2 more breaths here. All right, slowly lift yourself back up. And then cross your legs and come into tabletop position, facing the top of your mat. Untuck your toes and let's move on to the spine. Now, while we're doing cat-cows, pay extra attention to what's happening in your pelvis. We want to focus on the pelvic tilt here. With an inhale, drop the belly, open the chest. This is an anterior tilt of the pelvis. As you exhale, lift the upper back, round your spine, tuck your tailbone. This is a posterior tilt of the pelvis. Nice. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest, anteriorly tilt your pelvis. Exhale, round the upper back, spread your shoulder blades, tuck your tailbone under, posterior tilt. Let's keep going. Inhale, open the chest, drop the belly, look forward. Exhale, lift the upper back, pull your chin to your chest. Inhale, drop the belly, look forward, anterior tilt. Exhale, pull the upper back to the ceiling, posterior tilt. Good, 2 more times. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, press the ground away, navel to spine. This last time, you can even do it with your eyes closed if you haven't already. Inhale. Exhale. All right. Come back to neutral tabletop position. And let's come into a wide-legged child's pose. Take just a few moments here to let your low back lengthen and your hips open. If this is too intense for your ankles, as in previous classes, you can always roll up the back of your mat, either halfway up your mat or the entire mat, and then rest your ankles on top of that to relieve some excess stretch on your ankles. Settle into child's pose. Take a few deep breaths here. Good. Now walk your hands back in, unroll your mat if it's rolled, tuck your toes under and come into a squat. Step your feet wider than your hips with the toes pointing outward at about a 45-degree angle. With your arms and the insides of your knees, take a few moments to shift your weight side to side, checking in with your hips and just trying to push them open a little more. You can even press your elbows into your knees to help open the hips up. Let the hips sink nice and low and focus on pulling your chest forward and up. Good. Then slowly place your hands down and walk them forward. Come into a down dog. Step your feet hips width distance apart. If you notice your back is rounded, try bending your knees a little more. And remember that exercise when we were in tabletop doing cat-cow, where we were moving through anterior tilts of the pelvis and posterior tilts of the pelvis. In down dog, you're going to want to go a little more into an anterior tilt of the pelvis, which means that you're pointing your tailbone up towards the ceiling as best as you can. Good. Now, from here, step your right foot in between your hands. You can grab a hold of your ankle and help guide your foot the rest of the way if you need, then tap your left knee down and untuck your toes. With an inhale, rise up into low lunge. Reach your arms overhead. Take a moment first to steady your balance, and then start to lean your upper body over to the right, coming into a side bend. You can reach your right hand towards the ground, but it might not make it all the way to the ground. If you have a yoga block or a stack of books nearby, you can always use that as a prop. It's a really great way to find a little more stability and balance in this pose. With an inhale, reach both hands overhead. Exhale, hands down, and then step right back into down dog. We'll do the other side now. Step your left foot in between your hands. Again, you can grab a hold of your ankle if you need. Then tap your right knee down and untuck your toes. Squeeze the inner thighs together. With a strong breath in, rise up into low lunge. Reach both arms overhead with the palms facing one another. Good. Start to lean to the left, opening up your right side body. So this is a nice hip flexor and psoas muscle stretch. Eventually, you might reach your left hand towards the ground. If it makes it all the way to the ground, that's great. And if it doesn't, that's also great. As you can see, mine doesn't make it all the way to the ground either. Nice. And with an inhale, rise back up, re-extend both arms overhead. Exhale, hands down, step right back into down dog. Cool. Now moving on to a little bit more hip opening. Step your right foot forward once again. Tap your left knee down. Now this time you'll shift your left shin bone so that it comes to parallel to the short edge of your mat. So you're going to turn your left foot over to the right. Bring your right hand inside your right leg and try to keep your right knee stacked over your right ankle. Now with an inhale, reach your left arm out to the side and up to the ceiling. Exhale, place your left hand back down. You can watch the screen if you need. Inhale, open back up. We're going to do this 5 times in total. Exhale, back down. Inhale, open. Exhale, down. Inhale, open. Try to stack your shoulders here. Exhale, back down. One last time. Inhale, open. This time, hold it here as you exhale. Think about sinking your hips a little closer to the ground and opening the chest as much as you can. Good. Release. Left hand comes back down. And shift back into regular lunge. Then step back into down dog. We'll do the same thing on the second side. So we're really pushing our hips into external rotation here. Step your left foot in between your hands. Tap your right knee down, untuck your toes, and shift your right shin bone so that it's parallel to the short edge of your mat. Foot goes over to the left. Left hand inside your left leg. Keep your knees stacked over your ankle. With an inhale, open up, reach your right arm to the ceiling. Exhale, back down. That's 5, excuse me. Inhale, open. Exhale, down. That's 4. Inhale, open. Try to stack your shoulders as you reach tall. Exhale, down. Inhale, open. Exhale, down. Last one. Inhale, open. Hold it here as you exhale. Essentially, this is a Warrior Two pose preparation. We're just getting our hips open in the right way. Nice. Lower your right hand back down and shift back into downward facing dog. Take your time in these transitions here. No rush. All right, and our final progression into Warrior Two. Step your right foot in between your hands. And this time, keep your left knee lifted off the ground. Spiral your left heel down so the outer edge of your left foot is parallel to the short edge of your mat. Right knee stacks your ankle. With an inhale, rise for Warrior Two. Lift your torso. You want your arms parallel to the ground here, and eventually you want your right femur bone, so your right thigh, to also be parallel to the ground. Look towards your right hand and keep your shoulders stacked over the hips. Make sure you're not leaning forward or back here, but you're standing nice and tall and nice and strong. Now taking it a step further than last class, for extended side angle, reach your right hand forward, then tap your right elbow to your right knee. Reach your left arm overhead and work on creating a straight line from your left fingertips down to your left heel. So sink your hips nice and low. Energetically work your right knee to the right side of the room, active through your quadriceps and glutes. Good. Deep breath in, look up towards the ceiling. Deep breath out. Good. With your next inhale, rise back up into Warrior Two. And as you exhale, cartwheel both hands down and step back into downward facing dog. Nice job. Let's do the second side. Step the left foot in between your hands. Spiral your right heel down. Your left heel is in line with your right arch. With an inhale, rise, Warrior Two. Stay as you exhale, sink your hips as low as you can here. This is both a hip opening and leg strengthening pose, as you can tell. Arms are parallel to the ground and look towards your left fingertips. Shoulders stack your hips, draw your navel to your spine, and steady your breath. Moving on to extended side angle. Reach your left fingertips forward and tap your left elbow down onto your left knee. Reach your right arm overhead, a long straight line from your right fingertips down to your right heel. If it feels okay in your neck, turn your gaze up towards the ceiling and breathe deeply. Keep your right shoulder stacked on top of your left so that the front of your chest stays open here, and stay strong through your left leg. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Really good. Rise back up into Warrior Two. Then cartwheel both hands back down to frame your left foot. Step back into down dog. Amazing job here. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Good. Now moving on to more static stretches. Step your right foot outside of both hands at the top of your mat. Tap your left knee down and untuck your toes. Point your right toes outward at about a 45-degree angle, coming into lizard lunge stance. You want your right foot either directly under or in front of your right knee. And you can either stay on your hands, or if you feel super flexible and open today, you can think about coming down onto your elbows, but that might be a little too intense, so feel free to come back onto your hands. With every exhale, think about sinking your hips a little closer to the ground to best open up the hips. Now taking it a step further, come back onto your hands if you are on your elbows. Come onto your left fingertips. Bend your left knee, lifting your foot and shin off the ground, and with your right hand, reach back for the outer edge of your left ankle. Now, if that's just out of your reach, you can always loop a strap or a belt around your ankle and just hold on to that. And if you have your ankle with your hand, that's awesome. Focus on opening up your right shoulder, your chest, and continue to let your hips sink into the ground. This is a fantastic quadricep stretch here, as well as the hip flexor stretch. Hold it here for another deep breath in. And with your exhale, gently release back to lizard. Good. Shift yourself back a little bit to relax your hips. And start to walk your right foot over to the left side of your mat, coming right into half pigeon pose. So you'll lower your right shin bone to the ground with your knee to the right. And then slide your left knee as far back as you can. Good. Then right away from this position, you'll begin to fold over your right thigh. Now take your time coming into this pose. No rushing in any of these transitions here. You might stay on your hands. You might lower to your elbows. If you're feeling super open today, you might even lower your forehead to your hands or to the ground. We'll hold this for about a minute in total, so we're almost halfway there. Keep breathing. And with every exhale, Notice if there's tension somewhere in your body that you can let go of. Good. Start to bring your hands back down and lift your torso up off of your right thigh. We're going to do a similar thing we did in lizard. Bend your left knee and reach your left hand back for your ankle. Flex your foot here to keep your left knee nice and strong. And work on drawing your left heel as close to your glutes as you can. That way you really stretch out the quadriceps. Good. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. You can experiment with yourself grabbing the inside of the ankle or the outside of the ankle and just stay with whichever one or whichever variation feels best. To deepen the stretch, just bend your left elbow to pull your heel closer. Good. Now release. And we'll move on to the next side. Tuck your left toes under, step back into down dog, and then extend your right foot straight up to the ceiling for three-legged dog. Take a deep breath in. Good, and exhale back into down dog. Other side. Step your left foot to the outside of your left hand at the top of your mat and tap your right knee down. Point your left toes outward at about a 45-degree angle. Make sure your left foot is in front of or directly underneath your left knee. And then we begin. Either stay on your hands and focus on sinking the hips to the ground. If you're feeling super open, you can think about lowering down to your elbows. But like I said before, this can be quite intense sometimes, so feel free to come back up or simply stay on your hands the whole time. Then if you haven't yet, I invite you to close your eyes and deepen your breath. Nice. We'll start to make our way into that same variation from the first side. Come onto your right fingertips. Bend your right knee. Coming into a twist, reach your left hand back for your right ankle. Flex your toes to help support your right knee. And notice the stretch happening in the chest, the shoulder, the hips, and the right quadriceps. Use your breath here so that with every exhale, you allow yourself to sink into this pose a little bit deeper. Gently release. All right, let's make our way into half pigeon pose. Shift your weight back and start to walk your left foot over to the right. Lower your left shin bone to the ground. Slide your right knee as far back as you can. And when you're ready, begin to fold over your left thigh. You can stay on your hands or come down to your elbows. If you're feeling super open today, you might even lower your forehead to the ground. Now, if you do have any knee problems, you're more than welcome to do this laying on your back without as much pressure on your knee. You would just take a reclined figure four pose. As time goes by, you might start to sink deeper and deeper into this pose. And as before, use your breath to guide you into it. Your exhales allow you to sink deeper. Slowly start to walk your hands back in, and let's make our way into that mermaid prep pose. Place your left hand to the inside of your left knee, bend your right knee, and reach your right hand back for your right ankle. Flex your right foot, and start to pull your right heel as close into your right glutes as you can. With the strength of your right arms, you can bend at your right elbow to do so. Just go as far as feels comfortable for you without forcing anything too hard. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Let your hips sink a little more closely into the ground. Good, and release. Both hands back down. Tuck the right toes under. With an inhale, down dog, straight into three-legged dog. Extend your left foot up to the ceiling. And with your exhale, tap your left toes back down for down dog. Now from down dog, tap your knees down to the ground. Bring your legs forward out in front of you, coming into a seat on your butt. Then grab onto the backs of your knees or the backs of your thighs and lower yourself down onto your back. We're going to do a little bit of a spinal twist and internal rotation training for the legs. Keep your knees bent and then bring your feet as wide as your mat. Drop both knees over to the right. Cross your right ankle over the top of your left knee and just let the weight of your right leg press your left knee into the ground here. If this feels a little funky or uncomfortable in your low back, then you can bring your feet wider than your mat when you start and then drop your knees over to the right that way. Connect to your breath here. We'll be staying for about 5 more cycles of breath. Good. Bring the right foot back down, lift your knees back to neutral, and then let your knees drop over to the left side. Just like we did before, cross your left ankle over the top of your right knee. Find a position that's comfortable, a position where you feel like your body will stay here without any effort on your end. And then allow yourself to sink into the floor, letting your body get heavier and heavier with each passing breath. This is our last pose before Shavasana, so we can kind of use it to mentally and physically wind down from our practice and achieve a deeper sense of calm. And slowly making our way out of the pose, place both feet back down, lift your knees, and then hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a gentle rock side to side, just massaging your low back. Draw some circles with your knees, and then place your feet back down. This time, connect the soles of your feet and let your knees drop out to the sides. Release your arms to either side of you with your palms facing up. This is our supine bound angle pose. Now tense every muscle in your body. From head to toe, everything tense, tense, tense. And then release. Come back into supine bound angle pose. We'll take this in place of Shavasana today. Instead of the legs extended long, we'll just do one final hip opener as our Shavasana. Of course, if you are more comfortable taking a traditional Shavasana with your legs extended, feel free to move into that shape now. And for the next few minutes, allow your entire body and mind to rest. Real gently invite your awareness back into your body, noticing the shape that your body is in. Then when you're ready, bring your knees together and invite some movement back into your hands and feet. In time, reach your arms overhead and point your toes. Take a deep breath in, full body stretch. And a deep breath out to release. Bend your knees and roll over to the side. Keeping your eyes closed, press up into a comfortable seated position. Take your time to arrive, no rush. Rest your palms on your thighs and sit up tall. And take this moment to observe how your body feels now at the very end of class. After all the hip mobility work we've done, can you almost find a little more ease here in sitting up taller and bringing a little more of an anterior tilt to your pelvis, even here in a seat? We spent quite a bit of time today working on opening the hips in external rotation and internal rotation. We did both active and passive mobility work, so hopefully you can feel those effects now. Bring your palms together in front of your chest. Take a moment to thank yourself for showing up today and putting in the work. Great job today, and we'll see you back on your mat next time.